Alright, you guys, welcome back to the channel. Here for some more Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 Future Saga Chapter 3 is on the horizon. They went ahead and dropped the teaser trailer yesterday. Today, we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit more about that, specifically in regards to Destroyed Conton City. I find that extremely interesting, and I feel like it could be a build-up to something greater, potentially Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3. You know, the events of Chapter 1, 2, 3, and 4 could just be the climax. Not necessarily the climax, because if it is a build-up to Xenoverse 3, then Xenoverse 3 will have its very own climax, stuff like that. But we're just gonna go over some predictions, theories. You guys have been commenting down below in the comments, which, by the way, thank you guys for doing all that. I greatly appreciate it. So without further ado, make sure to drop a like on today's video, turn on post notifications, and let's jump straight into it. So this is the comment section from the reaction video that we went over yesterday, and we have, you know, the first one here just talking about Broly himself. We're either getting base DBS Broly, or it's going to be Wrathful Broly that can transform. It's finally started. The reclaiming of assets that Breaker stole for itself has begun. So in the teaser trailer itself, and even on the official Dragon Ball website, they didn't necessarily confirm Chilai or DBS Broly to be playable characters. We can only assume that Broly will most likely be a playable character. I can see him being an actual DLC instead of Chilai, right? Chilai might just be some NPC within Conton City and not necessarily being playable. We're not entirely sure. Of course, we do have to wait for further confirmation and information. But yeah, I agree. You know, DBS-based Broly, which, again, very different from all the other Dragon Ball games, because DBS Broly usually starts in his Ikari or Wrathful state, whatever you want to call it, and then he transforms. Comment down below, would you guys prefer him to transform into his Wrathful states or Super Saiyan? So going back to this trailer here, we do have his official name, Broly, and then Dragon Ball Super in parentheses. That's literally the same title that base DBS Gogeta has, right? And he can transform into Super Saiyan. Of course, it's a lot more simpler because he only has two transformations within the movie, Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan Blue. And we already have Blue Gogeta as a separate character, right? But for Broly over here, it's a bit more interesting because he can go down either of the two routes. You know, he can transform into Ikari state or into Super Saiyan. Now, there is the option of Broly having both transformations, which is the best case scenario, don't get me wrong. I don't think that's going to be happening. It's probably going to be one or the other. We'll go ahead and talk a little bit more about the characters and, you know, future character reveals in a separate video, but I just found this very interesting. Let me know down below in the comments what you guys think about that. Here we have the next one. I bet it is Ultra Super Villain Golden Frieza. Now that's very interesting that he pointed out Golden Frieza. I mean, to be honest, we all think it's going to be Golden Frieza, but to be fair, there are multiple Friezas in the game. It could be Ultra Super Villainous First Form Frieza, which I highly doubt. It could be Ultra Super Villainous Fourth Form Frieza, you know, Final Form back in the Z days, because going back to the trailer, we do have a couple of the illustrations, the art pieces right here. And we do see Final Form or Fourth Form Frieza being scolded by Broly. Now, we all know why this is happening, because if we go back to the DBS Broly movie, he just literally stomped out Frieza. He transformed into his golden state, and it was like, how dare you make me go all out? This is going to be the last transformation you'll ever see, or whatever. And then next frame, boom, got Shoryuken. You know what I mean? So this is why this image exists. Like, Broly's like, hey, stop doing that, Frieza, or don't do that, Frieza. And Frieza can't do nothing. All he can do is turn his head, you know, shrug his shoulders, because he knows he'll just get completely obliterated, right? So it could either be USV Fourth Form Frieza, but I'm sure we can all agree that's going to be Golden Frieza Ultra Super Villainous state, which they teased at the very end of this trailer. They went ahead and put his iconic laugh, and then he says, "Rejoice, a new power awakens," something along those lines. I was actually surprised on how many people started to speculate that this could potentially be Frieza Black from the Dragon Ball Super manga. For the people who don't necessarily know, Frieza Black, that's his new transformation. He trained for 10 plus years, unlocked that new form, and literally one-shotted both Ultra Instinct Goku and Ultra Ego Vegeta at the same time. I know we hear him monologuing at the end of this trailer right here, and it does say a new ruler is born. I'm here to tell you that that's not going to be the case. It's a 99.9% sure it's going to be the Ultra Super Villainous power-up. But going back over here, I went ahead and thumbs up some of the comments, you know, just to keep them bookmarked and make it a bit easier for my talking points. So everyone is aware that it is Frieza, right? But yeah, going back to this comment, Gold and Frieza more specifically is like what everyone's trying to say. So this is interesting. A lot of people have been talking about this. So massive thanks to Eric for providing this comment here. We do have a few more mentioning this. But they went ahead and said the DLC everyone asked for. Another Broly, Ultra Super Villain Golden Frieza, predicting Ultra Super Villain Omega. Now, let's see if I can find a few more right here. I don't care for Ultra Super Villain and Frieza, to be honest. Hopefully the Dragon Ball is a sign for Omega Ultra Super Villain. So as this person said, whole 2002, thank you for the comment, by the way. Right there, Chapter 3, the logo is going to be the 1-star Dragon Ball. The logo for Chapter 1 was the Time Ring, and then obviously we got Rose Goku Black. The logo for Chapter 2 was the Demon Realm Crystal. Now, I feel like they put that just because we got a little bit more information in regards to the crystal. You know, with few always talking in between the battles, the story missions. Very interesting stuff that this is leading down, in my personal opinion. But for Chapter 3, it's the 1-star Dragon Ball. Now, I don't think, obviously, we're just predicting, you know, putting my best speculations down. But I don't think this is referring to Omega Shenron. I mean, if we do get them, that would be nice. Some GT representation. Going back a couple of DLCs ago, we got the GT storyline with Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta and Super Saiyan 4 Goku, how we could pick the two different options, get two different cutscenes. Super Saiyan 4 Goku defeats Uzaru Baby Vegeta with the Ryuken, also known as Dragon Fist, and then Vegeta, you know, he got his epic transformation cutscene, and he defeats Uzaru, he defeats his evil self, I guess you could say, with the final Shine attack. Very epic animated cutscenes. So I could see them going down the GT routes as well. This could be a good indication. I mean, obviously, Shenron, his forehead, you know, that's his first form. He does have the 1-star Dragon Ball. And I know the Dragon Balls were like all sinister-like, ominous, the blue. You know what I mean? This is the original Dragon Ball. So what I think this is going to be representing, going back to the loading screens right here, we literally see Goku, Broly, and Chilai searching for the Dragon Balls. Chilai is holding the radar. So maybe they do gather all 7 Dragon Balls. They go over to Conton City and, you know, they summon Shenron for whatever. And then Frieza arrives. We'll go a little bit more into that as well. One of you guys commented a very cool backstory, a theory that I think could be the entire DLC. But you guys know that giant crater over Conton City? Yeah, what if they were summoning Shenron? Frieza destroys Shenron and the Dragon Balls, also destroying Conton City at the same time. So let's actually go over to that comments just to provide a bit more context. So massive thanks to Card Limits for putting this down. I predict Supreme Kai of Time is providing sanctuary from Broly, or for Broly and Chilai, because Frieza found them on planet Vampa. So this is actually the recent events from the DBS Broly movie. You guys know after the battle of Gogeta and Broly, after Chilai made the wish to have Broly go back to planet Vampa, Frieza gets his end credit scene, I guess you could say. You know, they found where Broly is located, right? Frieza had no idea that they were on Vampa before, so they found him. Frieza said something like he wants Broly at his disposal to defeat Goku and Vegeta, I'll go ahead and play out the clip, but I feel like this does lead extremely well into Future Saga Chapter 3 since they basically confirmed Frieza at the end of the trailer. But here is the voice audio. Not necessarily going to be playing the visuals because of copyright, but here it is.
Sure enough, my lord. It appears both the traitors are with Broly.
Then let us leave them alone for the time being. We'll allow them to domesticate the brute and bring his mind under control. Once he can release that immense power without losing his senses, I'll come back for him. That's when he'll become my mightiest warrior.
Do you think that will work, Lord Frieza?
I certainly hope that it does for all of our sakes. No matter how much I manage to raise my battle power, my most hated foes, Goku and Vegeta, remain triumphant. I would like to have someone at my disposal to massacre them.
Basically, Frieza wants to control Broly like the evil person he is and have Broly go up against Goku and Vegeta. But at the start of Frieza's monologue, they've located the traitors, of course being Chilai, and I forget the other guy's name, but the one who likes to cook, the old dude. They're on planet Vampa, obviously with Broly, and Frieza says, let's wait a little bit, hold back, have Broly cool down, have him control his power for he doesn't necessarily go all berserk mode. But how this leads into Xenoverse 2's storyline, well, going back to this comment, Supreme Kai of Time is providing sanctuary for both Broly and Chilai, going over here. So they're not trapped on planet Vampa anymore, right? We clearly know that they're on Conton City, doing time patrol missions with CACs, having a good time. So continuing on with the comments, well, Frieza did find them on Vampa, but now he wants to kill them instead of waiting it out. Of course, he did say wait for Broly to calm down, have him adjust his power, which Broly does seem like he's not necessarily berserk mode anymore, since this is post DBS Broly movie, or at least it seems like it, right? And Few helps Frieza find them, which causes Conton City's destruction. That's the key element right there. So for whatever reason, Few finds Frieza. Frieza was upset, but like, where the heck did Broly, Chilai, and the other guy go off to, right? Obviously, they're chilling on Conton City. Few finds Frieza, say, hey, aren't you looking for Broly, Chilai, and the other dude? Well, I know where they're at. You want this additional power boost? I call it the Ultra Super Villainous form. And then Frieza's like, sure. And then Few takes Frieza to Conton City, hence the destruction of the hub world. Isn't that an epic theory? Shoutouts to Card Limits. The reason why I think this is so cool is because it's literally taking official Dragon Ball lore from the DBS Broly movie. How Frieza is trying to have Broly under his control to inevitably, not inevitably, but to hopefully destroy Goku and Vegeta. That's Frieza's wish, right? So he goes over to Conton City, destroys it, maybe gets Broly under his control. I'm not sure. The DLC's obviously not out, but yeah, I find this to be a very cool comment. That literally could be the build-up or startup of Chapter 3, or maybe the entire storyline. So let's say very last second, Frieza does destroy Conton City, right? Even at the very end of the trailer right here, we see Chilai. Wait, so just like that, he can... My theory here, Chilai's surprised, saying, whoa, you can destroy this sanctuary? You can destroy this safe place that Supreme Kai of Time provided for us with one simple blast? You can see how there's like debris, the smoky effect, kind of like particles from an energy wave or even fire. So it seems like Frieza just destroyed Conton City, and Chilai is reacting to it. She's very surprised, right? That could be a small or big piece of Future Saga Chapter 3. Now, leading over to the events of Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3. Once again, Card Limits, thank you for your comment. Very cool theory, if you ask me. It just makes sense with what they showed us within the trailer. You know what I mean? Defend Conton City, that's not going to happen. We have Broly, Chilai not on planet Vampa anymore. Supreme Kai of Time providing a safe place, sanctuary. Frieza eventually finds the place with his new ultra super villainous power boost because of Few. He gives him it and obviously teleports him over here to Conton City, which again is kind of cool to me because it feels like a continuation from the DBS Broly movie in the Xenoverse 2 timeline, I guess you could say. So going over to Xenoverse 3, let's go ahead and find the destruction right here. I'm not sure if a lot of you guys know this, but Conton City was actually built off of the rubble of Toki Toki City. And Toki Toki City, of course, was the hub world for Xenoverse 1. Chrono remade it into Conton City for Xenoverse 2. Since Conton City is now being destroyed, they could take the same concept, take the rubble, debris of Conton City, and make a larger, better hub world for Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3. So going over here, the Dragon Ball Wiki, I find this place to be good in gathering information, very reliable in my personal opinion. So here we have dialogue from Chrono herself. Isn't Conton City huge? It used to be known as Toki Toki City, again, the hub world for Xenoverse 1, and had a completely different layout. Then we started having an uptick in changes to history. The number of time patrollers increased too, so things got pretty cramped around that time. Though, there's more to it than just population increases. Either way, the city needed to be rebuilt as a result. We asked the old man and the others what they wanted to see in the new city, and before we knew it, the city had grown to this size. It's tough to get from place to place. Yes, that's why we created the transfer shop, or Trunks did, of course being Bulma's son. There are various facilities here, be sure to take advantage of it if needed. Conton City, formerly known as Toki Toki City, is an exclusive city featured in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. It was originally known as Toki Toki City up until age 850, but changed in age 51. It also appears in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, the manga. So I'll be honest, I don't necessarily know how Toki Toki City ends up being destroyed, because at the end of Xenoverse 1, don't the main CAC, Time Patrol Trunks, and Supreme Kai, don't they train new candidates of the Time Patrollers? I know there's this big eruption, this final battle of Demegra, Goku, and the CAC, but Toki Toki was still intact. So don't necessarily know how Toki Toki got destroyed. Maybe that's explained in the Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 manga, which, by the way, I had no idea existed. It says right there, the manga is a supplementary manga by Toritaro and included with the collector's edition of Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. I don't have the collector's edition of Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, so I'll probably go over the manga in a separate video. I think that could be very interesting. Let me know down below in the comments if you guys would like to see that. But more of the story, Toki Toki City was destroyed. Chronos built Conton City off of Toki Toki City, kind of used that as the foundation. Going back to Future Saga Chapter 3, they could be using the same concept, rebuilding a new hub world on top of the destroyed version of Conton City for Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3. You know what I'm saying? That makes a lot of sense to me. And a lot of us are thinking that, the future sagas are just build up for Chapter 3. I mean, I think there's a comment right there. Xenoverse 3 is coming, which, to be honest, that's probably going to be the title of this video. So shout outs to Goku-sama for coming up with that idea. I just find all this to be interesting. It's getting a lot better, the storyline. I mean, at one point, maybe the CAC might even turn into Ultra Super Villainous State. That could be like the climax for Future Saga Chapter 3, and then Chapter 4 could be something else. Maybe the Ultra Super Villainous crystals might form into a greater villain that we don't necessarily know of just yet. It could be exclusive to the Xenoverse timeline, and then maybe we have to team up with Few to defeat that Super Villainous crystal villain, you know what I mean? I don't know. Comment down below what you guys think about all this. It's very epic, and I'm just glad that I get to, speculate upon things, go over your guys' comments, read your guys' thoughts and opinions, what you guys think all this could mean. Do you guys think Xenoverse 3 is on the horizon? I truly think so. I mean, it probably sold 10 plus million copies at this point. The game is just too great in my personal opinion. So this is it for today. Thank you guys for the immense support as always. And if you guys have any more feedback or just any other video ideas, be sure to comment all that down below. This is it for today's video. and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace!